Good evening. I'm Adrian Arsenault. Across the country tonight, Canadians are grieving, mourning those taken by the slow-motion tragedy moving through seniors' homes and those taken suddenly, violently in Nova Scotia.
I miss them so much. My family is just devastated.
As the death toll rises again, questions mount. What was the motive, and could an emergency alert have saved lives?
This is what I can't get over. Why wasn't there a phone alert?
I'm Andrew Chang. Questions too from Ontario families after a spike in deaths at a long-term care home.
In some ways, my worst fears have been confirmed.
Dozens died in one home in 1 week, and families say they were kept in the dark. This is the National.
The anguish and grief in Nova Scotia grew even heavier today as the RCMP revealed a bigger death toll from this weekend's shooting rampage.
The gunman ended 22 lives, 4 more than we knew of yesterday, and it's a number made more painful still by the continuing scourge of COVID-19.
We've experienced so much death, and it's hard to comprehend. We all need to come together, to pause and let ourselves feel.
Now, police did not go on camera today to take live questions. They only issued a statement confirming the killer was stopped by their gunfire. He didn't take his own life. And the RCMP uniform he wore, an authentic one, not a costume, not a copy. We'll have more on the investigation tonight and those who died. But we begin our coverage by looking at the growing criticism and even anger about the initial response, particularly why an emergency alert did not go out as the rampage unfolded. As you'll hear, a grieving husband says if one had gone out, his pregnant wife might have been saved. Kayla Hounsell has his story.
This roadside memorial is dedicated in memory of Kristen Beaton, a young mother of a 2-year-old son and newly pregnant with her second child.
Down to earth, loving, caring. You can't say a bad word about her.
Now her husband, Nick Beaton, says her death could have been avoided if there had been an emergency alert to let people know a shooting spree was underway.
I would have not let my wife leave the dooryard if I had that broadcast come across that he was on the loose.
He says he and his wife heard about the firearms complaint in Portapique Saturday night.
It went quiet, and we thought it was over.
So the next morning, Kristen, a continuing care assistant, went to work in the area where the killer was still on the loose. She called her husband between clients, but still didn't know the shooter was dressed as an RCMP officer in what looked like an RCMP cruiser.
Minutes later, after she hung up the phone with me about the poor people down in Portapique, she hung up the phone, and moments later, he came across her.
The RCMP did send notifications on Twitter, but with seniors in the area and limited access to internet, many were not aware.
This is what I can't get over. Why wasn't there a phone alert? We've had it, tested and everything else. I've heard it before.
His nephew, Greg Blair, and his wife, Jamie, were also killed. The Premier says the province didn't send the alert because the RCMP didn't ask for it.
Quite frankly, we need the information from them. What is it that they want in that alert to notify to citizens?
The RCMP says the force will examine how the public was informed. Too late for Kristen Beaton's family, left only with memories.
When we got married and I was looking into her eyes, and she was so beautiful and the wind was blowing. And
they plan to tell their families about their pregnancy this week, a memory they'll never get to create. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
There were so many lives taken, and today we learned more names and more stories of the lives lived and lost too soon. Joanna Miliotis spoke with some of the loved ones left behind to grief.
The sirens blared out the sorrow. One by one, a procession of first responders in Ontario's Durham region paid tribute to 2 longtime residents killed in the rampage and to the broken sons left behind. Don Madsen and Frank Gullinchen had just retired and moved to Nova Scotia. At the care facility where Madsen worked for decades, flags were lowered. The last send-off was so much happier. Former co-workers can't believe she's gone.
When she came into the building, her residents were her family, and she treated them exactly like if they were family and her best friends. She's one in a million.
Tragic outlines are still emerging. Lillian Hislop was on a regular walk when she was gunned down.
She was a very nice lady, very quiet, private lady. She was very kind.
Her friend says if only police had issued an alert to stay home.
I do feel really strongly about that, because I do feel that if we had received an alert of a sort, like an Amber Alert of this situation, that many people might have been spared.
There's so much agony from the investigation and the silence around it, too. Among the houses destroyed by the fire set by the gunman, one belonging to John Zal and Elizabeth Joanne Thomas.
And my parents, they were angels.
Justin Zal knew something was wrong when his mom didn't make her nightly call and didn't answer her phone the next day.
I'm just a little sad, obviously. I'm upset. The system has let so many people down, man. It's ridiculous, you know.
They are presumed dead. As the victim toll rises, scattered along a murderer's trail, pockets of grief for those already named and ones now confirmed. Gina Goulet, a cancer survivor who loved to dance. Corey Ellison, described as a generous soul always willing to help. And Joey Weber, a father of 3 committed to his family. Sketches of lives and salutes to them and to those left huddling in grief again tonight. Joanna Rumiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
So that grief in Nova Scotia stretches well beyond family and close friends. In a small province of tightly knit communities, the biggest mass shooting in Canada's history obviously leaves deep emotional wounds. John Murphy looks at how they pull together even as they have to stay apart.
What do you say to someone who's lost so much? How do you say it? A candlelight vigil on the streets of Halifax helps.
It's something you just have to do. It's just human nature to feel grief for other people.
But after the candle burns out, in the days to come, what then? Quentrell Provo started an anti-violence organization after his cousin was violently killed in Halifax a few years ago. He says a pledge to stay by the side of the victims' families can go a long way.
You have to continue to be there when, the funerals are over, when, this is in the back thought of most people's mind. You still have to be there for them,
And where last weekend's rampage began, where a memorial to some of the dead grows, they vow to do just that.
I just want them to know that there are a lot of people thinking about them.
The signs of support are everywhere here.
It's the bond of community. To know that you're part of a larger concern and that people care for you. You don't always only share life because you're joyful. You also share life because you're sad.
And from across the country, it seems Canadians have Nova Scotia's back. You can practically hear the support from Banff, where the bells toll. And in Toronto, it's the bagpipes.
I never thought I'd be here in Nova Scotia singing about this kind of tragedy.
The sadness of it all shared in song.
Sooner or later, it's gonna be okay.
I think people feel that love and they get that connection for certain, but it's funny, it's healing for the person that shows that support too, and that's, I think, what we were doing last night.
All sharing the hope that better days lie ahead for Nova Scotia. Tom Murphy, CBC News, Halifax.
Now, as for the official investigation, again, there aren't many new details tonight because the RCMP didn't speak to reporters today. But our Thomas Daigle did some investigating of his own to find out how the gunman was able to use such an effective disguise.
What allowed the gunman to go on his rampage for so long was the uniform he wore at the wheel, verified by the RCMP today, and the car he was driving. The only picture released showing the mock Mountie cruiser offers both clues and questions. Just look at the poster in the window, suggesting it was fresh off the lot. The Mounties say the car wasn't one of theirs, so how'd he get it? we turn to someone who's helped make real-looking police cars for movies. So to recreate an RCMP vehicle from scratch, how hard would that be?
We operate under strict legal guidelines, but a private citizen who decides that he wants to go off book and do this, it would be not that hard.
Consider we found a Nova Scotia public auction site selling police-style car roof lights just last month.
Those parts should be restricted. I feel that there's no purpose for somebody to own a police light bar.
Yesterday, we spotted another police-style Ford Taurus on the suspect's Dartmouth property. Neighbors say he frequently had identical vehicles in the driveway. By this morning, the car had been removed and police had left the scene. West Nodovitz has refurbished old police cars and has a sense of how the gunman could have done it.
He had to have gone, taken pictures, downloaded the pictures, took them to a graphics company, and had the decals reproduced.
It may have been even easier than that. To put decal contracts out for tender, the federal government posts online instructions on how to outfit an RCMP vehicle, down to the size of the logo and the color of the letters. As for the real RCMP uniform he wore, last year's government data shows 9 cases where Mountie uniforms and equipment were stolen, another 241 cases where they were lost. A potential slip-up that may have allowed for deadly consequences. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, with so many lives taken, there are many people who would pay their respects, but many will not be able to in person.
Funerals or memorial services can happen for immediate family. They can get together in numbers of 5 or less. For the rest of us, and for larger extended families, as I said yesterday, unfortunately, we're going to have to ask people to remember and to mourn virtually.
Dr. Strang added Nova Scotians will eventually have a time to come together to remember the tragedy, but until then, Canadians can take part in an online vigil this Friday through the Facebook page Colchester Supporting Our Communities.
In Ontario, another long-term care home is facing some serious questions over its handling of COVID-19. Our colleagues at the CBC News podcast, Front Burner, have learned another 27 residents have died at Orchard Villa, that's east of Toronto. And as Ellen Morrow reports, families say they were not kept informed.
This is your daily update regarding the COVID-19 outbreak at the Orchard Villa.
Automated calls like this are the only way many families are kept up to date with outbreaks at long-term care homes. But at Orchard Villa, families say those calls have not included the number of deaths, leaving them in the dark on the outbreak's toll.
Your head just jumps everywhere. You're thinking the worst, and it sounds like in some ways my worst fears have been confirmed.
Cindy Pritchard's mother, Margaret, lives at Orchard Villa and has tested positive for COVID-19. Today, after inquiries from CBC News, Orchard Villa told families in an email that 31 residents have died. Last week, that number was 4. The home says it's been experiencing staffing challenges with 30 employees themselves sick with the virus. Family members like Sandy Brown, whose mother Doreen has COVID-19, say frontline workers are not getting enough support.
The ministry has neglected nursing homes for years, and all of a sudden, here we are. We're falling off the cliff because nobody put up barriers to stop it.
Ontario's government says it's working hard to end the crisis, sending hospital staff to help in some homes. But a union representing care workers is calling on the province to take over the running of certain private facilities, arguing conditions for care workers are only getting worse. For so many families, the worst has already come.
She didn't complain, you know, she was just a rock.
Leah Philpott lost her mother, Eileen, who died of COVID-19 at Orchard Villa. Philpott has this plea for the province.
Get more help in there. I think they should be paid danger pay. They are risking their lives to be in there, and they need to be supported.
Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, if you want to hear more about how that story was uncovered, please listen to CBC News' daily podcast, Front Burner. That's tomorrow morning. They will have an in-depth look at what happened at Orchard Villa from the viewpoint of family members. You can subscribe to Front Burner wherever you get your podcasts.
Ontario and Quebec both have fewer new COVID-19 cases today than they did yesterday, but the daily jumps are still in the hundreds, and Quebec remains the hardest hit province. Canada's caseload overall has now exceeded 38,000. Of those, Quebec has 20,000. That's more than half of the country's cases, and more than 1,000 people in that province have died. Now, as the CBC's Alison Northcott tells us, where the province has been hardest hit, long-term care homes.
Nearly 70 people at this long-term care home have died from the virus.
She was fine April 2nd at 8 p.m.
It's where Jean-Pierre Daubois' 94-year-old mother lived. He says her health deteriorated quickly before she died.
It was an horrible sight, quite frankly.
Now he's filed an application for a class action lawsuit against the home.
The lawsuit alleges a series of bad administrative decisions over and over and over that worsened the situation.
It alleges the administration forced staff with symptoms to keep working and didn't provide enough protective equipment to stop the virus from spreading. The health authority did not comment on the allegations, which have not been proven in court. As the hardest hit province, more than 80% of the deaths in Quebec are in seniors' homes and long-term care facilities.
Est-ce que c'est la chambre de Monsieur Guy Veilleux?
Nathalie Veilleux's father lives at this home, one of many short-staffed and struggling, with workers off because they're sick or afraid of catching the virus.
Quand on parle un peu au personnel,
she says staff tell her it's been hell, something they've never lived through before. The Army has been called in here and to other hard-hit homes to help.
It's like a tsunami.
This co-owner says with less than half of his usual staff, the basic needs are met, but a lot is left undone.
Usually we give people bath 1 or twice a week. Actually, we're not there. We don't have time for that.
Outside the homes, the Premier says the situation in Quebec is stable and says the worker shortage in the homes is improving.
We have physicians, nurses, health students that are coming, and the situation is getting more and more under control.
Legault says nearly 90% of Quebec's long-term care and seniors' homes have no cases at all, and says the province is keeping a close watch on those that do. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
A long-term care home is at the epicenter of the COVID-19 outbreak in Nova Scotia. A sixth resident has now died at the Northwood Seniors Complex in Halifax. As of today, 112 residents and 40 staff members have tested positive for the virus. Extra staff are now working to contain the virus at that facility.
And there are new concerns tonight about Canada's food supply. One of this country's largest slaughterhouses has ceased operations because of an outbreak of COVID-19. And as Carolyn Dunn explains, the ripple effects are likely to be felt from the farm to the grocery store.
One of the busiest meat processing plants in Canada going idle for who knows how long. The coronavirus has been spreading like wildfire through hundreds of Cargill workers. They'd been complaining about unsafe working conditions. One worker has died. The closure means the nearby Rimrock feedlot and others like it have simply stopped sending cattle to Cargill. That will put a big dent in Canada's processing capacity.
So we'll end up with a backlog sooner than later. We are supposed to see about 4,500 animals roll through Cargill every day, and now we're currently at 0.
A host of plant closures in the United States has already prompted warnings of possible meat shortfalls in that country. The good news is Canada produces more beef than it uses. So today, the Prime Minister offered this Canada First assurance.
But right now, the priority will be on domestic supply. So we are not at this point anticipating shortages of beef, but prices might go up.
But this agri-science expert warns the Cargill closure may be just the beginning.
I'd be very surprised if by the time we're done with this pandemic, a meat packing plant would be spared by this.
Another major plant, JBS, is still running, but it's down to one shift a day. It says it's taking safety precautions to protect workers and the supply chain. But a federal government official tells CBC News the JBS plant is on a similar track as Cargill. Its 80 positive cases are expected to rise. If it were to close in addition to Cargill, that would eliminate about 70% of Canada's beef processing capacity. The challenge now is to get healthy workers back on the job and keep them healthy. before plant closures have a serious impact on the supply. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, near High River, Alberta.
Now, all of this has raised questions about the safety of our food during a pandemic. So we've got Dr. Isaac Bogash, an infectious diseases specialist, joining us. And so a large meat processing plant is shut down because of an outbreak of COVID-19. Is the meat I buy at the store safe?
Yeah, I think it certainly will be. And the reason is we have to think about what happens here. You know, it would be extremely unusual for people working in that plant to actually contaminate the meat itself. And, you know, let's think of a situation. Maybe if in a theoretical situation, if the virus does get on the meat, we have to remember the virus can only live for about 2 hours to 2 days on products like this. And, you know, by the time it makes it to the store, there's not going to be any viable virus on this, even if there was some on there as well. So I think the risk for this would be extraordinarily low.
Okay, Dr. Bogash, thanks for that. And we'll chat with you a bit later in the program as we take viewer questions on COVID-19. Thanks.
Thank you.
And British Columbia is dealing with a new COVID-19 outbreak at a chicken processing plant. Dozens of employees tested positive for the virus.
And we now have up to 28 employees who have tested positive for this virus. The plant was closed down and an outbreak investigation is ongoing.
So more than 70 staff members have been tested at the United Poultry Company in Vancouver. At least one other plant owned by the same company is set to be inspected. And Air Canada is temporarily suspending all of its scheduled flights to the United States until at least May 22nd. The airline says the recent extension of border restrictions is to blame. The last scheduled flight between the two countries will be on Sunday. The airline will waive flight change fees for all the affected customers.
Support charities and nonprofits in their important work. Our government is setting up a $350 million emergency community support fund.
And new funding announced today for community groups and national charities like the United Way, Canada, and the Canadian Red Cross. Ottawa says the money is aimed at expanding programs to meet the growing need during the outbreak.
Well, anger over physical distancing and the economic shutdown continues to grow in the U.S.
Why? No, I'm not wearing a mask.
Why?
Because I don't need a mask.
Up next, Paul Hunter takes us to an anti-lockdown protest in Pennsylvania.
Plus, finding a way to heal after unimaginable loss. We hear from the families at the heart of the tragedy in Nova Scotia.
And Nova Scotia strong. We ask for your messages to Nova Scotians.
You are not alone.
And boy, did Canadians deliver. We're back in 2. Tomorrow, Donald Trump says he'll sign an executive order on immigration. It's a 60-day pause applying to those seeking permanent resident status. Trump says it will limit competition for U.S. jobs that are in high demand with soaring unemployment due to COVID-19. Meanwhile, the number of cases in the United States exceeds 820,000. The number of deaths, 44,000. Now, also growing, the number of people demonstrating outside state capitals demanding an end to restrictions. Now, just days after one such protest in Kentucky, the state saw its highest single-day spike in cases. But as Paul Hunter found, the protests go on.
Our new normal does not mean that we will sacrifice our freedoms for our safety.
Forget physical distancing. They're fed up, bunched up, and angry at continuing orders to shut their businesses and stay home for the good of all to combat COVID-19.
Give me liberty or give me death.
You're not wearing a mask. Why?
No, I'm not wearing a mask.
Why?
Because I don't need a mask.
Why?
In the face of so much medical advice, we heard a lot of that.
Make America free again! Open us up! Open us up!
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania this week joined a growing list of state capitals where anger at the economic shutdown is boiling over. The coronavirus threat, say many, overblown.
We control the government, they don't control us, you know. That's what our Constitution's about.
If you're scared, stay home.
You're shutting our economy down, ruining our economy on something that we don't have all the facts together yet.
To be clear, politics is a big part of this. Amid the calls to reopen Pennsylvania,
open up!
There were plenty of these hats and those signs. Still, with millions of Americans now unemployed, the frustration is genuine.
When the governor issued a shutdown, pretty much folks got up and walked out and went home.
At this nearby home building company, Ben Lewis has had to lay off 20 people. His view, it's time to be allowed to reopen for those who are smart about it.
There is still a way that we can continue to operate. We need to think about the folks that aren't sick. You know, they also need to continue to make a living. And I think there's a way that we can do that safely in a way that does not endanger the vulnerable among us.
A perspective shared, if put more bluntly, back at that demonstration. They stood, they chanted, they honked for hours. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Next, on The National, we return to our top story, the tragedy in Nova Scotia, and next, how the community is coping.
Plus, sharing their stories.
She loved kids, she loved family. She was a born leader.
How they're being remembered by friends and family. We'll be right back. That's Lisa McCulley just a few weeks ago with a performance posted on social media during isolation. The elementary school teacher was one of 22 people killed by a lone gunman. And if you didn't catch the lyrics there, although we're apart, you're a part of my heart. One of many poignant reminders of what was lost this weekend in Nova Scotia. Just some of the mothers, fathers, children, neighbors, and friends you see there. Tonight, they are being remembered by some of the people who knew and loved them best, like the sister of Lisa McCulley.
I think it's almost getting harder because the adrenaline of the shock is wearing off and reality is setting in. So as the adrenaline lifts, the reality is sinking, and the gravity of this situation is almost incomprehensible. I think it's so important for us to just take it one day at a time, one moment, one breath, and I'm finding it hard to breathe, and just accepting these feelings. These are big, hard feelings, and to just be with them as best we can, moment by moment. I find if I go into the future and imagine my life without her, and how everyone is going to manage without her, it's overwhelming. So I'm trying to just stay present and honor her life by taking a few interviews each day.
We did about 30 years together in the fire hall, like between the 4 shifts. So if he had died going into a house fire to rescue somebody, that would be not a problem. This wasn't the way Tom Bagley was supposed to go, I'll guarantee you. No, not a guy like him, solid guy. A guy that was never shy for work. I mean, when I first met him, we worked in the fire hall. On days off, he always had projects to do. He was a painter. He was a master painter. That's what he said. Jack of all trades, master of none. And he could do everything as well. Mechanic, body work, carpentry, the whole works. He did it all. He's left a mark, I mean, on a lot of people. We'll never have another drink of rum together, I guess, but well, Lord have mercy on him. Yeah, I haven't seen him for Christmas.
Joining us again tonight is the Mayor of Colchester County, Christine Blair, in Truro, Nova Scotia. So, Madam Mayor, what was today about for you?
It was about more shocks and a situation where the residents of Colchester County are facing the reality of the loss of their loved ones, that we are learning the names of those loved ones, and we're learning how many people that somewhere along the line we are connected with, that we know, that we're acquainted with, that are friends of friends or daughters of friends or sons of friends, and it's been one more very difficult day.
I bet, hearing about all the names and all the numbers, it makes you wonder, does a community like yours have enough grief counselors?
We have grief counselors that are prepared to work with the residents. We have the mental health provincial crisis line. We have the kids helpline. We have Morneau Chappelle that has volunteered 24/7 bilingual service for crisis help. And we also have the Sociologists Association of Nova Scotia with 30 plus professionals that are prepared to volunteer their time to assist.
And last thing, Madam Mayor, all Canadians have this feeling that they want to do something right now to help. What can they do for you?
Well, keep us in your prayers, keep us in your thoughts. Canadians from right across the country are reaching out to get in touch with us, and we appreciate knowing that everyone is there for support. You can go online and look to see whether there are other things that can be done to assist the people who are grieving so desperately and who are in such pain at this point in time, and that may be of assistance as well, or may give them some direction on how they can help. But knowing that we have the federal government behind us, that we have the provincial government behind us, and that we have the Canadians right across this country offering their sympathy, offering their support, their prayers, and their comfort, is something that means so very much to us here in Colchester County. And thank you all for that.
And thank you, Madam Mayor. We appreciate your time once again. Still ahead on the national messages for Nova Scotia.
The people of Nova Scotia are resilient, they're strong.
Sending love and light to brighten the darkness just ahead.
But next, we return to the matter of the pandemic and our nightly segment asking your questions, including one that we've been asking almost since day one. How, and maybe more importantly, when will things start to gradually reopen? We're back right after this. Welcome back. Time to answer some of your COVID-19 questions. Infectious diseases specialist Dr. Isaac Bogash back with us once again. Hello to you. And this first question, Dr. Bogash, given what's happened in Nova Scotia, is one that we've gotten a few times now. So here it is. How do people deal with burying loved ones? Is it safe to attend a funeral these days?
Yeah, I still think that people can certainly attend a funeral and also adhere to the physical distancing guidelines while abiding by the provincial and municipal rules of how many people can congregate together in one place. And in some places, it's you might hear about 5 people or perhaps 10 people are allowed to congregate in one place, and certainly that's reasonable to do at a funeral as long as people are still distancing themselves by 2 meters. I appreciate that this is extremely challenging. And that the natural inclination is to give your loved one and your friends and family there a hug, but it's still important to stay physically distant in these settings. And there's some creative solutions here. We've heard of funerals where 10 people pay the respects. They're separated by 2 meters. They return to their cars, and then another 10 people show up and have a chance to pay their respects as well. So there are creative ways where this can be done in a respectful manner, but still adhering to the local guidelines and staying apart.
Right. Okay. Here's a forward-looking question for you. How and when will things start to gradually reopen?
Well, interestingly, when we hopefully are not just plateauing, but on the other side of the curve, and we see a sustained reduction in the new cases and things start to open up, I think we're going to start to see a loosening of some of the restrictions that we're living under. And this might manifest in several ways. One is that we might start to see more people allowed out and about in parks, either provincial parks or municipal parks, as long as they're spreading apart by 2 meters. And, we might even see some other things like maybe, perhaps, I'm guessing here, but maybe some restaurants will be allowed to open up as long as they are able to keep people apart and have, a small number of people in the restaurant at any given time and adhere to good hand hygiene and physical distancing measures. So we're probably going to see a change for the better somewhere along that spectrum of returning to normal, but of course not quite as we remember as normal as we remember from the pre-COVID-19 era.
And as quickly as weeks from now or months, what do you think?
Hopefully it's in weeks. I mean, it really depends on us. And if we continue to adhere to these physical distancing measures and start to see a drop in the number of new cases, then it may be, a few weeks away.
Okay. Dr. Bogash, thanks so much for your time as always.
Anytime.
And as we've mentioned, we will be asking your questions about COVID-19 every night, so send them our way. You can message us directly on Instagram at CBC The National, or you can send us an email at covid@cbc.ca. Just be sure to put The National in the subject line. We are learning more about why COVID-19 can be so deadly for some patients. As you'll hear, it's not necessarily about what the virus itself does to the human body, but what damage the human body does to itself. Christine Birak explains.
When a healthy ER doctor in Seattle became sick with COVID-19, people were worried, but no one thought 44-year-old Ryan Paget would die.
Please, can I get some help in here?
And yet, he almost did. Doctors then figured out it wasn't the virus that was killing Paget. It was his own immune system.
My immune system had caught this wildfire, this cytokine storm.
To attack an invader, proteins called cytokines signal the immune system to move in. But some illnesses, including SARS, can trigger too many signals or a cytokine storm. The immune system then goes haywire, attacking the body. A growing number of early studies suggest a subgroup of patients with severe COVID-19 might have cytokine storm syndrome.
There's probably multiple components to why people are susceptible. It could be genetic.
Scientists in London, Ontario are leading an important trial. Using blood samples from 45 COVID-19 patients, they found high levels of a specific cytokine protein.
What we're seeing seems to be occurring in all of the very sick patients and those that ultimately are dying.
Based on final results, drug companies can quickly develop treatments targeting certain cytokines to bring down that immune response, but it can be tricky. These scientists have done it for other illnesses and warn if the immune system's defenses are lowered, it might not attack the virus.
If we suppress the cytokine too much, the virus will replicate and go crazy.
Based on severe COVID-19 cases seen in China, Paget's doctors tried an experimental treatment. An existing drug quieted the cytokine storm in his immune system. Treatments like it might save other lives too. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
Next on The National, Canada sends its love to Nova Scotia.
If you give a little more than you take.
Musicians, hockey stars, and ordinary Canadians are doing extraordinary things to bring a little light to the darkness.
When your time down here is through, there's a place up there for people like you.
That is Canadian country singer Johnny Reid pouring his grief into song. He says what happened in Nova Scotia has had a profound effect on him, and he's not alone. Halifax native Sidney Crosby says, "I know we will come together and help each other get through this. I'm thinking of everyone at home."
Love in every way.
And actor Ellen Page, also from Halifax, sent her condolences, writing, "This is heartbreaking. I'm sending all my love." This tragedy has touched people around the world, many taking to social media with a message of strength and solidarity for the province. Nova Scotia strong.
My dear Nova Scotia, and all those people suffering from this awful tragedy. Today I offer my prayers and my music. God bless you all.
If I know one thing, I know that the people of Nova Scotia are resilient, they're strong.
Nova Scotia was, is, and forever will be strong.
We must stay strong, stay together, and forever be the generous, warm, hospitable province that I remember.
I love you, Nova Scotia. I know you're going to get through this.
My grandmother was from Antigonish, and Nova Scotia will always be a part of my heart. It might be a very small thing, but we're just keeping our porch light on in commemoration for everyone involved in this terrible tragedy.
Today, my sons and I, we painted our front door to say, "We are strong. We offer you all strength and hope you get through this dark time."
It just, I think, is really important at this time to be there for each other, even if we can't be there in person. That's why I'm lighting this candle for you today.
Our collective hearts are aching, are broken, and for some, shattered beyond repair.
We just wanted to say, we want to show our support for what happened in Nova Scotia, the deaths of that RCMP officer and those families, what they're going through. So my wife lights her tree up every night just to show her support, our support for you.
We love you. Please know that in your grief, you are not alone, and the lives of those lost Nova Scotians will not be forgotten. And together, we will mend our fractured hearts.
Our moment is next. It's a little different tonight, but first, a story of a connection made 20 years ago. That is when Constable Heidi Stevenson attended an event in the Netherlands commemorating the Canadian liberation of Apeldoorn and left a lasting impression on a 6-year-old girl.
It was an anniversary year, 2000, so there were many veterans attending too. But I was drawn to somebody else, and that somebody else was Heidi, who was the only female RCMP there. And we don't have anything like RCMPs here in the Netherlands, so I was just amazed by this superhero who was wearing that bright red, and she had all eye for me. She sat down and talked to me like I was an adult, which to a kid means a ton. This photo is just a photo of the moment, but if you look closely, you can see that I'm actually holding a piece of paper in my hand, and that is a memento that she gave me. It was her card with her picture on it, and as soon as I got home, I hung the card on a corkboard in my room, and it stayed there well into my teenage years as a source of inspiration, because I thought that she was just so cool to me.
So another difficult day for the people of Nova Scotia and, quite frankly, for many Canadians as we all try to make sense of what happened.
That's hard. Tonight there are more faces to add and more details to share about the victims, and so we will leave you now with that growing list that is a national for April 21st.